2.
Live streaming is on.
Hey, good morning, everyone. I'm Dan Gay, Chief Marketing Officer of BlockCerts Blockchain, and we're excited to have another World from Here today. And I'm joined by my colleagues, Mr. Daniele Minci, who's coming to us live from Italy. And Daniele is the president of Fusion Funder. Good evening to you, Daniele.
Hey, ciao Dan, come stai? Let's speak in Italian today.
Awesome. Thank you, Daniele. And then also Mr. Tim Vasco, who's the Chief Executive Officer of BlockCerts Blockchain and the Chief Architect and Founder. Good morning to you, Tim.
How you doing, Dan? Daniele, great to be here as always. I'm speaking English today.
Yeah. You're going to go with that language today.
I'm going to go with that one. One of my many.
Yeah. So thanks for joining us, everyone. And if you would, please subscribe if you haven't already. And then also click on the thumbs up button. It helps us to continue to build and grow our community. We have some spoiler alerts that Tim's going to share at the end of this 30 minutes. So definitely stay tuned with what's going to happen for next week. Pretty exciting news. And today we're going to talk about what some of the pioneers are saying. And we want you to kind of see what really ties in between all of those. And, you know, are you really listening to what's happening in the world? Things are rapidly changing. And there are those that are talking about what's going to happen. We're actually going to show you what is really happening today. So pretty exciting day today. And Tim, take us away there. And 30 minutes is going to go by fast. 28.
Yeah,
now.
well, let's talk about speaking English and Italian and so forth. There's so much noise out in the marketplace. It feels a bit like Babylon right now. And it has for some time. So we're going to talk today about what are the common threads. A little bit of Italian, a little bit of English, but what are the common threads in crypto and who's talking about it? The ideas from all of the influencers and regulators and people that we hear from, what's going on and how we react to that. So, you know, first and foremost, obviously, is there's been so much stuff happening that there is no question that this is real, and it's real at the highest levels. The presidential panel and regulatory heads met on dollar peg digital currencies and the dangers to capital markets. In other words, what is our existing infrastructure and how is that infrastructure going to be affected with what's happening as stable coins emerge, and certainly in general as the cryptocurrencies emerge and then digital markets. So really, when we think about that, we have to think about, look, this is hitting on a global scale. We've had this massive influx of new capital coming into the market. We've had this massive influx of digital functionality that's raised trillions and trillions in market cap valuation for the companies. And what's really going on out there? So Jack Dorsey says Square may build a hardware Bitcoin wallet. You go, Jack. We've already got ours, we're good with that. So thank you for supporting it. And it says we're developing a hardware wallet. There's a lot of innovation above just currency to be had. Thank you for catching up. And that's really what the thing is about. Is this hasn't happened overnight? Hasn't happened for us overnight. It's been something that's been happening and been going. And last week on the World from Here, we talked about function versus fiction. So now that we have everybody talking about this and we have everybody saying, you know, that are these influencers, I'm a fan of decentralized finance. Well, why wouldn't you be? It's got a huge impact, and it's also a great news story, right, Elon? So, let's keep that going. And it does make sense that the DeFi protocols are on Ethereum. It's the biggest network. It's not the only network, but it's certainly the largest, and it's the most evolved in terms of development. So Elon apparently also said that Bitcoin mining is increasingly powered by renewable energy, and Tesla will likely move back in to accept Bitcoin. I noticed, Daniele, that Bitcoin bumped up again to 40,000. So the bouncing ball of Bitcoin continues. And really what it does is it fuels the dialogue of blockchain, digital finance, digital business models can evolve on top of this technology. So getting back to function, this digital business models really will be evolving. And that's why you're hearing all of this discussion. Vitalik says, considering decentralized and building applications that go beyond DeFi using Ethereum. So yes, that's what we've been trying to say.
True functions. Yes.
True function versus fiction, beyond function versus speculation. And that is that is kind of the theme of what BlockCerts has been about and continues to be about, which is delivering function, which we are doing next Friday.
Yeah, exactly.
Spoiler alert. Next Friday. So yes, we do have the wallet, Jack. Yes, we do have function, Vitalik. And yes, we do have a blockchain that is taking true transactions, making them immutable and trackable, and putting it out there in real business terms so you can use it, just like this particular podcast and this particular platform, the Meet Certain platform by BlockCerts, is actually running and using encrypted technology for recordings and providing this service to the world, which will all be available next week to anybody who's in our community. And it's on IPFS, it's encrypted, it's on blockchain, it's a real function, it's really there, it does it, and every user is authenticated that's in there. Yeah. So this is real function on blockchain. So if you want to see that and be part of it, what we're doing next Friday is we're actually releasing this to our community. So this world from here won't be open streamed. It will be streamed only to our community of token holders who have gotten us here. So thank you, community, and everybody for bringing us this far. We're super excited to give you these tools. All you can eat video supported by the community, all you can use video, no monthly fees, all that's gone. It's token based, it's tokenomics, and the BCert token is how you get that. And it's not just video. It's not just video. Yep. It's a whole bunch of stuff that you use every day to build into your truly functional blockchain SaaS environment, business, and lives. So that's what we've been saying all along. And alongside that, Daniele, can you tell us a little bit about what's going on with the crypto exchanges and creating more strength and stability there? Because again, that's your world. And I'm super excited to hear about what you're seeing as these things stabilize and grow and become more widely distributed.
Yeah, so I think there are many things, I would say false dichotomies that have been used over the past weeks concerning regulation and exchanges as a whole. Let me try to nail them down across 3 different directions. So number one, at least if we take the latest financial crisis, take, for example, what happened in 2008, and without being too much, sophisticated, what was the root cause of that crisis? Essentially 2 things: credit and leverage. Okay.
Right.
So how credit and leverage configure to the digital asset marketplaces, like, the one in which we're operating in. So credit is almost inexistent, almost. So
Right.
People, active market participants, they don't use credit to step into it. Let's say most of them, because everything they do, it's collateralized almost. So this means there's no real someone that is bearing the credit risk of defaulting, okay? So credit, it's kind of fixed. And the second one is leverage. And regulation now is pushing exchanges like Binance and FTX or others like BitMEX to reduce leverage. For those that are not familiar of cross-margin trading or leverage trading onto those platforms, traders can leverage up to 125x. I don't know. I've never met any person that is doing margin trading at 125x. Okay, this means you bet $1, but you risk $125, or you might win $125. But it's like casino gambling. So reducing from 100K to 20K, in my view, it's a positive improvement, even though I personally believe that 20x is even too much. So I believe the real intraday traders, they leverage up to 3 to 5x, but very seldom, at least I've seen with my eyes, something above 5x. So to me, this is a positive change. There's also a lot of misconceptions about regulations in the space of exchanges, and in particular towards Binance, because Binance, among many others, has started to offer futures, options, and derivatives very early. And since April, Binance, it was the first to offer stock tokens. For example, Coinbase, the stock token, was available on Binance.com even before it was actively traded on on the Nasdaq. So in fact, Binance has received the warning from many regulators in the world, including the Malaysian just yesterday, that they cannot offer a regulated product. And for many people that don't understand what is the difference between regulated and non-regulated, regulated products are mostly options, futures, and derivatives. Contract for difference including, which is the derivative. Right. So those are regulated products. So if a non-registered exchange like Binance offer a regulated product, is a problem. So every single jurisdiction is telling, okay, guys, you cannot offer to my citizen regulated product, but you can offer spot trading, because virtual assets, including Bitcoins, are not regulated because they configure themselves as intangible assets or virtual assets that in almost any jurisdiction in the world are not regulated. So there's no problem to buy and sell Bitcoin. But if you want to buy a future contract of Bitcoin, that is a problem, okay? Because it's a regulated product, okay? So this means there's a lot of misunderstanding of what regulation is about, but an exchange is in trouble if it offers a regulated product without having the license to offer regulated products.
Well, the last... Daniele, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Keep going.
Yeah, and the last one, so the last, let's say, misunderstanding is about the warning that Binance has received from the FCA in the UK, the regulator in the UK, that warned one of the entity of the Binance group, which is called Binance Market something. I don't remember the third name. So to trade regulated products because they are not registered within the FCA. So in fact, Binance.com is not a regulated player in the UK, a regulated entity. So this means Binance.com, if it offers spot trading, they have no problem to operate within the UK. That's my understanding of the FCA warning. But if Binance.com operates under the trade name that has received the warning from the FCA, and it offers regulated products like options, contract for difference, derivatives, whatever, then is a problem. So in fact, the warning in the UK was about, hey, if you operate under this trade name, you have a problem if you offer a regulated product. But if you don't operate under that name, trading name, and if you don't offer regulated product, there's no problem.
So what I was going to say, Daniele, is when you're looking at these exchanges and you're looking at this line of what is regulated, what isn't regulated, and so forth, do you see that this kind of compliance market, as well as exchange market, as well as the entire functionality, the line's been blurred, and there needs to be new regulations out there that really start modeling?
Absolutely. So what is going to come into play is that, number one, if you log in or if you sign up to an exchange, whatever exchange is, and with just username password without any KYC verification, essentially you cannot withdraw any funds. So it's going to go into this direction. So unless you step into KYC level 1 verification, so level 1 verification is essentially so name, last name, address, plus proof of ID. So unless you don't pass this verification, essentially you can trade, but you cannot withdraw funds.
Yeah.
So, and this is what is going to happen. And Binance already reduced the limits also on KYC level 0, because before there was no, actually, you could have withdrawn up to, if I'm not mistaken, 10 Bitcoin. I'm just thinking about that. And right now you can only withdraw 0.06 Bitcoin if you're on level 0. So in fact, what they're doing is they're lowering down the limits for basic verification. They are lowering down the leverage trading, and you will see more exchange. They will remove regulated product like futures, options, contract for difference, derivatives. They will remove it unless they are being regulated. Right. And the only exchange, in my view, that is taking active steps towards this direction is FTX.
Yeah.
FTX is giving, I mean, they just raised 900 million out of 16 billion we talked last week. So in fact, they are moving to direction to be regulatory compliant and be probably the most progressive crypto exchange in the world in terms of taking active steps even before regulation comes into play.
So it seems to me that we're kind of getting back to what we talked about several weeks ago with Mark Carney, who was the head of the Bank of England and also the Bank of Canada, who wrote what the three biggest risks of our time are, which were the 3 C's. And you just said it: credit, climate. So, you know, how are we going to manage green technologies, business, everything else, and COVID, right? So there's your credit. And I would put a 4th C in there, which is compliance. Yeah. So there's our 4th C, which is there's really 4 things. We've got to change the way we view the world now. And that actually, and change it in a way that it doesn't stifle innovation, but it enables us to continue on this decentralization path. And it's really interesting when you look at that, because you look at, well, what are centralized industries and what are the stakeholders that have these centralized industries? We talk a lot about the technology industry, you know, and all the SaaS companies and so forth. But there's lots of other industries out there that are very centralized and have control over fee-based markets, not unlike the financial market. Real estate, huge industry, totally centralized around the real estate broker, the real estate license. Then you got mortgage banking and all the banking, you know, largest lending platform in the world. You've got that. As these types of markets start facing true functionality from the blockchain and DeFi, what's going to happen there? So I would say that these are just indicators, and really strong, impactful indicators of what true function versus fiction is when we start looking at markets.
But if you think, just want to add the point there about this one, because, you know, we experienced several capitulation or crises over the last months or years, and the system has proven to be resilient by its own. Because if you think about how capital market works, from a regulation standpoint, you have very strong margin requirements and capital requirements. Then if you take how DeFi, for example, and how crypto as a whole works, essentially protocols allow collateralization by default before you execute a trade. So, and then if you match a margin call, then you're being liquidated because you already have covered your position with collaterals. So at the end of the day, to me, let's say it's not a perfect for sure, but no one has been bailed out, which is not bad.
Right. Well, and that's really where we get to here when we talk about how DeFi and utility connect, right? And so the utility of that function is starting to penetrate like real use cases. And as Vitalik said, it's time to move beyond DeFi. Just like Bitcoin proved the blockchain could create this immutable currency. Now we have DeFi that's proven we can automate and eliminate this fee-based economy, this middleman cost economy in finance, and we can force kind of changes to more efficiency, more liquidity and things there. Now let's step that one step forward to what we've been talking about for the last couple of years now, which is utility, actual functionality. And where did that actual functionality become completely apparent? March of 2020, when the world locked down. Right. And all of a sudden, you saw the next big rise of the central players who controlled all the tech. And guess what? Digital meetings, meet certain, Zoom, boom, Zoom, boom, you know? I mean, now we've got words in our language like Zoom fatigue, right? What the hell is that? I mean, you know?
New verbs.
And we're traveling around the world by virtual meetings and virtual events. And I'm getting blasted with all of these invites. Guess what? We're back to crowding a bunch of people from all over the world. Talk about carbon footprint. Onto airplanes and into convention centers again. Congratulations. And you get to pay $3,000. We're discounting it. I got one today, Money 2020. We're discounting it down to just $1,000. I'm like, thanks. You know what?
No thanks.
Not a mass thing that I want to do. I liked that event last year. I mean, virtually. So, you know, it's going to be this constant struggle of going back to the good old days and asking, really, were those the good old days? Really? I mean, let's think about it. Was that really the way that this was really going great? Or is this a whole new world and opportunity? And when we talk about function, as we say, are people really looking toward being in control? I can't imagine, Dan, I cannot imagine a person on the planet that says, I would rather have another piece of software, another place to log in, and somebody else holding my data and controlling me and charging me another monthly fee. I can't imagine anybody saying that would make my life great.
Right. Another password, more places where data doesn't connect. And trying to figure out how to cobble all this stuff together.
I really need another app that I need to log into to get my work done today with another password. And, you know, I really need to figure out how to take that data from there and make it work over here. Like, really? Do we really need that? That's the good old days. That's what we got today. Like, that's what we're changing now, next Friday. And we're changing it with real functionality, like work collaboration, IDs, authentication. Who the heck are you working with? A vault. You don't need a bunch of passwords. You need one, and a private key. One. That's it. Everything you need to do with one thing to remember. Okay. We ask you to write it down on a piece of paper because if you lose it, it's really hard for us to protect you and get it back. We can do it, but it's really, really, really hard. And it's hard for you. So other than that, or go remember 50 passwords. Or if you don't like that, go ahead and log in with your Facebook and Google and let them track you all over the planet. And they see you, everything you're doing. So which one is it, right? And there's going to be this ongoing friction. Document signing, like, really? Do we really need to use PDFs and email? Like, honestly? And Daniele, by the way, we did some of those this week. And I emailed them to you, old school, right? And it's like, oh my goodness, like, let's get out of that. Let's just log in, sign something. We know it's that person. And guess what? It's automatically filed in an encrypted place. And only me and Daniele can see it because we got the private keys. Oh, and our accountant, right?
I think we need to, one of our, I would say one of the mission we have, and that is not a one-to-one face-to-face exercise. This is mostly through technology. is to educate people how cryptographic works without understanding what cryptographic is.
Right.
Because essentially, if we think about the SHA 256, which is the encryption algorithm of Bitcoin plus others, that's the true revolution that we are living into. So, and also the wallet, and what Jack Dorsey has just announced, and what we have delivered is an extension of what is already available to the market.
Right.
As long as people understand, and it's frictionless. When I say frictionless, for me, it's 2 clicks. So I can do something in 2 clicks.
We're working on getting it down to 1, but we'll live with 2.
Yeah, let's say if it's more than 2, you can tell me it's frictionless. It's not.
Yeah.
So if it's 2 or less, that's frictionless, which I like it, and I use it.
Right. And like I told you yesterday, I was sitting there working on all this liquidity pool and staking and kind of trying to get my head into how DeFi and utility connect. And I'm like, well, Daniele knows how the DeFi works. I know how the utility is, but this connection is not easy. Like, it's not something that exists anywhere on the planet right now. It's existing here as of next Friday, where you actually have tied utility to this decentralized model. But man, it's tough. And you know what? That's not frictionless.
Yeah, but I think then if we extrapolate what you just said in a kind of how the assets are being priced in the market, okay, from a fundamental point of view, as George Soros often say, sometimes price decorrelates from fundamentals, and fundamentals decorrelate from price. What happens right now in the space, if you take DeFi, for example, who is using today DeFi? Mostly people that are geek-like me, that like to live into the technology and then truly understand how do they work, even though there's a lot of clunky steps to enjoy the benefits of being the early adopters of a technology. But there is a payoff. So the price of that assets that leverage DeFi are somehow influenced by strongly believers like me that on an overall basis provides more upside and downside. Also from a volatility and risk reward point of view, it's always in the upside rather than in the downside. So I don't believe right now we have really surpassed or finalized the price discovery phase, because market participants are essentially people that are strongly believers, the holders, okay, regardless of what the price of the asset is. But the people that are in the market right now most of them are those that strongly believe that they use this protocol. What we want to do is to go on the other side and say, price is an important variable. It's not the only variable, it's an important variable. But we would like to rather focus on the fundamentals, and sooner or later, over time, price will follow.
That's right.
It's not the other way around, because most of the projects into DeFi and crypto, they focus entirely on the price discovery, trying to pump as much as they can the price, and the price is the only variable of the value of the ecosystem, and that's very dangerous.
Exactly.
And, fascinating. I just want to share with everybody, we got 1 minute, and I promised Jules, our security officer, that we would keep this to 30 minutes today. So
okay. So here we go. So with all of that said, true function and true fiction means walking your talk, or as Carl Jung said, you are what you do, not what you say you'll do. So challenge us to what we do. We delivered a link to a wallet. That wallet is tied to a massive, massive infrastructure of technology tools, which enables a massive amount of use cases to decentralize, DeFi the current world the way it is, the current models the way it is. And when I say DeFi, I mean that we're defiant. We're defying gravity here, because the gravity is all of that money going into these centralized business models. And defying gravity is pretty tough to do, right? Jeff Bezos, who just got to do that for 10 minutes up in space. It takes a long time to do it. So, but it can be done, and you can get up into space and float around friction-free, without the weight of gravity, and come back down and land safely and walk out and say, see, there really can be space travel. So with us, yeah, there is going to be space travel. We're launching the next version of this next week on a private channel, a private webinar, 9:30. So if you want to join that, Dan, I think you're going to put a link down below.
Yeah, I asked Tiffany to put a link
join our
there.
community and become part of this this exciting launch and next wave that the world from here emerges. And again, walk the talk. Don't just talk about it, do it. It's taken us years, half a decade to build this. And we're so excited for people to actually jump on, use it, and then take that to Jules. And he told me, no matter how many people we get on, we're going to hold up. So let's see. Let's challenge Jules on that one. Let's see.
Let's challenge him. And I have a question from where we just started this morning. Who's listening to whom? I think somebody's been listening to your webinars, Tim.
Yeah, I told Jules I sent him one of the memes from the old Star Trek where Kirk says to Scotty, and he's good, Captain, we don't have the power. So let's see if Jules has the power behind this.
We can't.
So that's the world from here this week. It's been really cool to see all this evolve. Once again, thank you to our token community holder. Join us next week as a member of our community. If not, we'll be back the following week, and we'll keep sharing this information because it's important for the world. Token.blockcerts.com will get you into the community. We'll get you your first version of the wallet, get you onto creating your actual functionality that's most important to you, because the choice is yours. It's really about choice, and the choice is yours. And we're going to talk a lot more about choice in our world to come from here. So with that, please stay safe, stay healthy, keep battling this COVID thing. It's really important. And get digital. That's where the world's headed.
Great. Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Daniele, for joining. And thanks, everybody, and our token holders. We look forward to having a private conference next Friday, again at 9:30 Pacific time. Have an awesome week.